I haven't done that. I don't know how to do that. Yep. Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Would there ever be like a reason to put it on, or should that all?
Go? 5 kilometers.
Probably like different obstacles. Terrain. Terrain.
Things like I mean, things like I mean, I would say buildings, but that comes under terrain. Yeah. Foliage.
With like radio extender or something like that. Wouldn't a jammer like stop your radios from working?
Hello, 10 Bravo. This is 11 Delta. Message over.
0 Bravo, go ahead, over.
11 Delta.
Just
Can
like that.
you tell me again the name of the DMR scope that we use? Over.
0 Bravo, we won.
11 Delta, 11 Charlie, message.
11 Delta, send your message over.
Tricon 308, over.
11 Delta, roger that. Out.
It's actually Trigicon, not Tricon.
User in your channel timed out.
Mm-hmm.
Hello? Yeah. Could you repeat some of the phrases so I can write them down? Maybe for next time. Oh, God.
Short, precise, clear messages. Someone else want to grab it?
I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Yeah, do you want me to go for it?
No, sorry.
Clap. Clear, loud, as an order, and oh, fucking! It's always the P. That's not precise. Is it precise? With pauses, that's it.
No, I'm sorry, I can't think of any comes to mind.
Like, don't talk, sort of, don't talk as you would on a section net. Talk more formally and using key phrases and not about bullshit as we do on section net.
Oh, so stuttering.
I mean, I do that. I mean, I do have a seducer, so that might be a slight problem. Yeah.
It's like me and night vision. You can't change it, but that's fine.
P.
Don't do an Underwood. Nope.
One.
112.
Second section there. Oh, you mean 113? I have a question about that. So, if you misdrop, and obviously you don't know who's on what net nearby, is it better to be slightly more formal when calling on other section nets, so you don't interrupt?
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we say 5, so. I know, but it's a thing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Chasm has followed. Blakeway, green. Mm-hmm. Yep.
When you're not too sure whether it's enemy or you've just seen something what is kind of like not really seen too often. If it's like a civilian or something. If it's like a civilian or something. Oh, if she's getting shot at? I don't know. Oh, fire.
Threat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. DDD. Direction, distance, description.
Charlie 1, be advised, DMR course 1 seems to be having some issues. Out.
I'll insert the 20p.
1-1 Delta 1-0 Bravo, message over.
1 Delta, send your message over.
0 Bravo, do you want to elaborate on what those issues are? Over.
1 Delta, do you need that right now? Because we're moving on to range 2. Over.
0 Bravo, if you plan on taking another course at the end of the night, then yeah, I would rather know now. Over.
1 Delta, at multiple points there were more than one target up at the same time. So that's it. Over.
0 Bravo, Rog, out.
Nope.
Nope. It's 100.1. And to be fair, I think Matthew's knows it anyway.
If both of your ICs are down and you're like the like the higher skilled people in your section,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, because then the portal to hell would have opened. One three acknowledges. Yeah. He did say that once on there.
And that's a meme in the making right there. Acknowledge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't
No,
hear
you're
you.
not. I can't hear you.
I don't.
I don't hear it.
No.
Definitely set it in local.
So 33.3. Oh. Oh right, that's right. That's right. Okay. I missed out a 3 there.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
1-1 Charlie, radio check, okay.
1-2 Charlie. Oh, radio check. Okay. Over.
1-3 Charlie. Okay. Over.
One zero, okay. Over. One Charlie. 1-1 Charlie, okay. Over.
1-2 Charlie. Okay. Over.
1-3 Charlie. Okay. Over.
Yeah, I'm just watching. Fucking anything else to do.
One, two, Charlie. Okay. Over. Sorry.
1-3, okay, over.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
We need to start using that more and up as well, because I've passed people for lock stats before and they haven't got a fucking clue what it means.
Hi, 1-0, lock stat.
He's being polite.
One Charlie, log stat at grid 226183. Over. One two Charlie lock stat 236181. Over. Yeah.
One three Charlie, stat lock at grid 236181. Repeat 236181. Out.
I also said
Hey,
that
yeah.
Now I got a stutter there as well. because stuff's exploding. Just a thing I picked up on there as well, just with the over and outs, with this kind of thing, as I said, it's not a big deal, because most that me or Lewis is going to say about is Rog out to you. So even if you say over, it's not a big deal, but just try and get into the good habits of saying out when you're not expecting a reply.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 Bravo, this is 12 Delta, message over.
0 Bravo, go ahead, over.
12 Delta, finished with the medical course, over.
0 Bravo, roger that, send them with Underwood to the Grenadier course, out.
10 Bravo, this is 1-1 Charlie, message.
0 Bravo, send, over.
1-1 Charlie, be advised, AR-AT course complete, over.
0 Bravo, roger that, send them over to Duffy, over.
One Charlie acknowledges. Over.
1-2 Charlie, roger that, over.
1-3 Charlie, acknowledged, out.
Okay. One Charlie acknowledges. Out.
Nope.
I have a question. I thought that if you were called out for Charlie Charlie 1, then it was for obviously 1 ICs, because they go by a Charlie call sign anyway. And I'm guessing in the case with Charlie Charlie 1, is that a collective call for 1 platoon? Would that change depending on the platoon, or? Hmm. Right, okay. No, continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Repeat, please.
Uh, 1-1 Charlie, repeat. 1-1 Charlie, repeat.
There's a call back. Oh, nothing heard. Oh, fuck. I'd probably say not understood.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One one Charlie, 1-0 Bravo, message over.
1-1 Charlie, send it, over.
0 Bravo, 1-1, if you want to head up to
Mhm.
the CQB course and just sit in on Spittle's lesson until we've got another group for you, over.
1-1 Charlie, roger that, out.
If you give an order and it turns out that's not what you should be doing, you would cancel it and say, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Nope.
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 Zero Bravo, go ahead, over. Zero Bravo, Roger that. Gibbons should be on the way. Hand above at him. Over.
Nope. It was fun.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, that's Gibbons. Whoa.
Right. Okay. Well. Okay. I assume Smith is probably the only person I actually need to teach this course to. This is going to be fun. Right. Bear with me.
Yeah.
Zero Bravo, go ahead, over. Zero Bravo, Ultra inbound, out.
Not too hard. Yeah, it's even easier. What? Bleeding again? Yeah, I am. Because I already was. I'm fine. I'll be alright. These are kill houses. Houses specifically made for the dead. Kill houses. Right, only got one until next rotation, so I'm going to sit in and act as a number two. Right, only got one until next rotation, so I'm going to sit in and act as a number two. Right, only got one until next rotation. I have a question to teach us, Daddy. And act as a number two. Right, only got. Sir. Can I go to the toilet, sir?
Hello. I know it. Yeah, I can go on it. Well, oh, it's here.
You got it muted?
Properties.
I'm also not getting much of a stream that's frozen.
There we go. Right, that's mic fixed. So at least now. This is why I told the people and the recruits when they came into me to have safeties on during base. God damn it.
Check your chat, Spittle. Spittle.
I'm looking at the chat.
Spittle.
I'm looking at the chat.
Oh, fact, if you've just actually went on to Twitch, you'll not see it.
Oh no, I didn't see it then. Well, what did you send?
I just said, fuck you, Spittle, I do what I want. I also sent a little pog in there as well.
Oh, pog.
Poggers.
I've also sent you a message. Right, I'm coming off that now. Can you just tell me if, whilst I'm doing this...
Back.
Oh god, you're a menace.
Yeah, you alright?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Yeah,
Just, if it comes...
as I start this, Mikhail, can you just check the stream if it's like it's actually working?
It's running, I'm not going to have volume on, so I'm not going to be able to tell you.
That's fine, I checked it, it should be fine. Right, is it just Connolly?
It's the me.
Okay, right, gather in, take a knee. Okay, so I'm now going to... I've got 42 minutes on the last lesson. I hope to get that down by 7 minutes. Cool, let's go. So, what we're going to do here is voice procedure for the infantry, otherwise known as VP. So this lesson is broken into 3 phases. Phase 1 being basic radio setup, essentially that what was covered in your BIT and a bit more. The section radio, which is a short bit, as it's mainly informal, and the main chunk of the lesson, which is command radio, which will bring you into formal voice procedure. So I'm not going to go through the basic radio setup as much. I'm basically going to make sure that's ticked off and you know how to do it, because I don't want you to suck eggs. Okay, so you know how to set up your nets.
Yep.
Setting up additional nets.
I've done up to just 1 additional net, but I've never gone above them. So
No, you wouldn't really. You're just asking for cancer. Changing from speakers to headphones.
Yes.
Okay, and obviously the point to note here is that speakers should never be used. 1, because it's going to cause cancer for everyone else in the platoon, and 2, because if the enemy's on a recce patrol, they can listen in on our comms, so it should always be on headphones.
Yep.
And then obviously we come on to the 152. The 152 Conley has a what range?
Oh, I don't actually know. I can check my radio, but it's actually...
If you give it top of my head, or I'll say it.
I'm assuming like a couple kilometre or a kilometre.
No, 5 kilometers.
Oh, really?
Okay, and what could reduce this range?
Hills and trees.
Yes, what would hills have always been known as? Beginning with a T.
Terrain.
Yes, and what would trees have always been known as? Beginning with a V. Nearly.
I actually don't...
Vegetation.
Vegetation.
So obviously to
fauna.
fauna and the foulage. So obviously terrain and vegetation can reduce the range of the 152. So we can overcome this.
Using that like satellite thing.
Yes.
I don't know what it's called though.
Sorry, someone just gave a blast on the command that I think it was a comm incoming. So yes, we can use a SATCOM. Now the 152 cannot be used with the SATCOM. So this is mainly for the VHF backpack radios. So the SATCOM can increase the range by 4 times. So obviously this will allow us to basically get our radio nets all across the map, or at least extend it on very large maps, so we can relay it using probably flight. Okay. So what I'm going through now is key phrases. I'm going to rattle this off quite quickly to get through this, to so you know it, and we can get into the meaty practice. Okay, so we have hello, which is the start of transmission. Over, which is the end of transmission, desiring a response. Out, used to end a conversation with no reply desired. We have roger, or acknowledged, to receive last transmission satisfactory. Negative, saying basically no. Say again, we'll come on to that later. Wrong, we'll come on to that later. Radio check, we'll come on to that later. I probably should remove these. Charlie Charlie 1 and Charlie Charlie 2, these are collective calls to multiple call signs. Wait 1, which is immediate answer unavailable, call back in approximately 1 minute. We have wait out, which is immediate answer unavailable, or call back when available, essentially. Break, which is when you're dividing a transmission into more discernible segments. So if you've talked about one topic, you'll say break, and then you talk about another topic. You then have out to you. So say, for example, I'm talking to Mikhail, I finish talking with him, I'll say out to you, and then I'll talk to Connolly. And then I have the emergency break. This is used in an emergency situation. So if, say, Underwood's talking on the net about not a contact, and then I'm going into contact, I will say break, and then all the nets should go silent then, so I can talk. And then you have contact wait out, which is obviously the initial call sent to relay that a section is under fire. Any questions about that?
Did I need to write that down, or is it only just...
No, this should be going up, but also it's more for your reference, and also you're probably going to get the lingo.
Yeah, I've got much to do it.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
I wasn't sure if I'd get an exam at the end of it.
No exam, it's basically just a lesson. Well, because I kind of exam it as I go through anyway. Golden rules. So when we're talking on the nets, what could so there's 3. Conley, give me one of the golden rules, what you might think of.
Don't talk on it at the command net, because it's not bad. It's not good.
I'm talking about when you're actually meant to speak on it.
Oh, what's the question? Sorry,
so it's a golden rule, so there's 3 golden rules. So basically, what should you be encouraged to do? So give me one example.
I've drawn a blank.
Okay. Mikhail, can you think of one?
Correct use of over and out, I'd assume.
Whilst that's important, I wouldn't say it's a golden rule. So you can obviously get around with over and out because it's inexperienced, but these are just rules to live by, essentially, with the command net, or nets in general.
Stuff like clear and concise speaking?
Getting it close, there's an acronym there.
I don't know.
Clap.
What?
Clap. So clear, loud, as an order, with pauses. Now obviously as an order doesn't really apply to command nets. So obviously clear, loud, so essentially those two, so you can be clearly understood, and then with pauses, so you don't rattle everything off really quickly. So
double click on them, it'll bring up a menu, and you can set the stance from there.
What?
So I was speaking on long range.
Oh right. So obviously I wouldn't go, hello 1-2 Charlie, this is 10, ready check over. You just wouldn't do that, would you? Because I'll be like, what the fuck? So that's why you have the pauses. Slow everything down.
I'm guilty of that because, yeah, I speak fast.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, you say it clearly. There's a difference. So you can kind of get by sometimes.
Like, especially if we're in like the middle of assault or something. If I need to get on there, I will talk fast. But
yes, that's understandable.
Another one, I guess, would be knowing what you're going to say before you.
Perfect. Yes, that's my first one. So think before you say things on the net. So it avoids things like so you know exactly what you're going to say, even though on the other end they may be getting a little annoyed, like, come on, fucking reply. When you finally reply, it will be what you need to say. What could the other one be between you two?
I don't think there's anything else that would work.
This is kind of more of an old-fashioned, but it comes into more discipline now.
Yeah.
So keeping the transmission as short as possible, so there's no waffle.
Okay.
So the rule essentially is no longer than 20 seconds. The reason for that is because in the 60s and 70s, it would take 20 seconds to triangulate the position of yourself when you're talking on the net. However, modern day, that doesn't really apply because you can triangulate it within milliseconds or seconds. So it's kind of pointless. However, the procedure still exists because it's good practice. So there's not like a long, massive waffle. So we have the think before speaking, be brief as possible, and clap. Those are the 3 golden rules. Any questions about the basic radio setup?
Mo, did you go over what clap is? Do you remember what that is?
Yes.
Yeah, we're...
Something and pause.
As an
order.
order.
With pauses.
Yeah, like I said, that doesn't really apply to the command net. Okay, moving on to section radios. Connolly, just give me all the radio nets for all the sections.
111, 112, 113, 100.1, 50.1, and...
I did say section, didn't say vehicle net.
Oh, sorry, what?
Yeah, it's purely section nets, so you did it.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Okay. So obviously section net is far more informal. So things like radio checks, they're normally just spittle radio check, and then you kind of be going like, yep, okay, cool. Might not even transmit on the radio, just be like, yeah, you're fine, or okay. It's like completely informal. And obviously can be sometimes within the section's own individual thing. We then have the more formal aspects of the section radio, which is the Kazam reports, and then contact calls. So, with Kazam, so obviously for 1-2, we've been doing it just green, green, and then other sections have been going green, 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 or something like that. So what we're going to do now is it's going to be divided into 3 sections, but a bit more detailed. So it's going to be the standard green, green for Kazam. However, then the final one is going to be given as a specialty. So it will be green, green, CMT, amber. So that final specialist role is going to be stated, and then its corresponding colour given. So it will be AT, green. So obviously, I gave this example earlier. I don't know, it works for you actually. Like, I'm used to you being the CMT. So say for example, if you're doing 1-1's method where they just go green, 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 I think you're talking about med supplies. But if you suddenly go green, green, black, I'm all of a sudden, oh shit, we've now got no more meds, even though it might have just been an AT. So what we're going to do now is we're going to specify what the role is. So that would be like green, green, CMT, green. Make sense?
Is that in regards to what I would say to you, or is this what you would say to command?
This is what you say to me in the section Kazam. We're in the section
So I
section.
would say, like, green, amber, CMT, green, sort of thing.
Yes. Or if you're, Grenadier, Gren,
I might take
amber.
a couple of tries to remember to do that.
Yeah, it's a new thing with me and Lewis discussed earlier. So there's that, and then now we come on to the contact calls. So you've got a sighting and you've got a contact call. So Conley, what is the difference between the two?
The sighting is if you're unsure if it's an enemy or a civilian. Contact someone that is dangerous.
There's a difference between... so a sighting can still be an enemy, but there's a difference in perception. So what's the key word if I perceive it to be what?
Bad.
What, sorry?
If it's a contact, that'll still be a combatant. So what
Yeah.
he's looking for is he's looking for whether it's a threat or not. So to kind of broaden, not necessarily, kind of broaden that out a bit. Say you've got a visible enemy section that's about 300 meters away. That's going to be a threat, so you'd call that out as a contact. If you see an enemy section that's, like 1,000 meters away, 1,000 meters upwards, they're not necessarily going to be a threat unless, you can identify if they're going to be able to touch you from that range.
Yeah.
So you call that out as a sighting.
Right, okay.
So-
Also, if they haven't been alerted to your presence as well, so say if you're doing a fucking CTR on a position.
Yeah, exactly. It all comes into that threat. So obviously the key factor between the two is range. So, and I think the best characteristic of that is engagement range. If we are within their engagement range, I would say that comes under a threat. If they're not within our or their engagement range, that's the best guess, they are not a threat, and hence would become a sighting. So,
I had no idea about that because I thought I wasn't explaining it that way.
Okay.
That's much clearer.
yeah. So, for example, if there's a civilian vehicle coming up towards our position, it will initially be given as sighting, civilian vehicle to my front 200 meters. Because it's a civilian, I don't think it's a threat until I know it's a threat. Like, it could be steaming towards us, and then it becomes a threat. Then I would call out IED, get down, or whatever. Make sense? Cool. So again, the main discerning factor between those two is the range, more than likely. It's more than likely the range, because again, like Mikhail said, it could be the same enemy section. Or, again, a tank. If a tank is 2 meters away from me, that's really quite a big threat. If it's 1,000 to 2,000 meters away from me, probably less likely to be a threat to me. Okay.
And if a tank's 2 meters away from me, I doubt you'd even need a contact call it.
Yeah. Okay, so to give a contact call, what should we use, Connolly?
Grit.
No. That's a fire control order.
Oh, it's a fire control. Fuck! It's CCC, sorry.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
There's 3 letters.
It's not CCC.
It's the next one up. Yes, DDD. And tell me what they are.
Direction, distance description.
Yes. Obviously, it doesn't matter what the order they are given. They can be given in any order. But obviously, that is the basis. You must give that information. What you can also do is give extra information. You're not limited to say just that. So I say, enemy bearing 240, range 50 meters. Sorry, I was going to say 50 meters just over there. 50 meters, 2-man section at base of building. So obviously, giving that little extra bit of information helps us navigate to where they are, or they could be top right window. So it's not necessarily within the DDD, but it's a little something that might help us get on the target a bit quicker. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Right, moving on. That is the entire section point done. Any questions?
No.
Lovely. I am 7 minutes ahead. Lovely. Right, so now we're on to the big chunky part. We are on to command radio. So if you could both please switch on to frequency 3 decimal 3. So it should be 4 threes.
Right, buddy.
All done? Don't do that. So this is going to simulate our command net now. Remember, on the command net, you don't call out on it. Yes. Are you there, Nicole?
Mm-hmm.
Lovely. So the first thing we're going to do is a radio check. So obviously now on the command net we are far more formal, so it has to be initiated in proper procedure. So what's going to happen is, I was going to want to read my notes. So obviously we do a radio check before we go on to an operation or an exercise begins. This is done beforehand. Obviously we do it here in our base, and obviously that comes into the preparation in pre-SAR. Fuck, that's one thing I did not mention with the other lot. Okay, no. Key phrases. So obviously the key phrase you need to listen out for is the radio check. And then obviously you then got 4 words you can use to describe what you're hearing. You've got the okay, that basically means you've heard them, there's nothing wrong. You've got difficult, so you can basically hear what they're saying.
Yeah, mate, go ahead.
Give him his moment.
Say again? Negative, no. Give him another shot at it. If he gets, we'll call it 3 spots and shoots, then we'll fail him there, but if it's just the one, just give him a warning, send him on.
Just the one spot, actually.
Roger, how much longer do you reckon you're going to be with your course, mate? 5 minutes, Roger. That once you're done, teleport over to where me and Spittle are, and then we can hand them over to the next available group.
Ready to go?
Yeah, mate, I'm just trying to drag your time up as much as possible so you don't beat the first group.
Well, the thing is, I'm ahead of schedule now, so I think it's going to be actual 30 minutes.
Oh, hold on, I might actually need to take another radio message from.
No.
Right, go on.
Okay, cool. So the key phrases is the radio check, so that's what you got to listen out for. There's the okay, so you've heard the transmission fine. You have difficult, so essentially you can hear what the person is saying and you can understand them, but there might be a bit crackly or it might be slightly weak or low signal, but you can still ascertain as to pretty much what they're saying. You then have unworkable. That is either you can definitely tell there's a signal being sent, but you cannot understand a word they are saying. So that's like high interference or like really quiet due to the extent of the range. And then you've got nothing heard, when there's basically not even a crackle on the net, there's just silence. Is that good?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, then you have the responses. So this is the actual VP. So, for instance, it'll be, hello Charlie Charlie 1, this is 1-0, radio check, over. And then 1-1 Charlie would go, 1-1 Charlie, okay, over. And then we go through the other things, and then I'll go 1-0, okay, out. Now, obviously, normally we say radio check on frequency, blah 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 blah, just to specify the frequency. However, normally it should purely be radio check, because obviously the enemy might be listening. We don't want to give Sorry, but if the enemy are listening, everyone's on the freaking net. But obviously, if there's people nearby which might be listening in, we don't want to say our frequency. So it's things like that, and also because everyone should be in the clue because everyone's logged into the damn thing, or should have call sign matrices of what the nets are. So they should know it beforehand. So there's no need for it. Is that all good?
Yeah, I do actually have a question.
Mhm.
I hear you, Mikhail, you're using Charlie 1 and Charlie whatever. And
Yes, I'm the quant. That's a later
Alpha
section.
lot? Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
you'll get on with that.
Yeah. So I'll give practice over here. So you all on the net. So we'll have Mikhail as 1-1 Charlie, and we'll have Connolly as 1-2 Charlie. I should specify here, if there was more platoons, we would have to specify Alpha 1-0 or Alpha 1-1 Charlie, just because we have to. But obviously we're in our platoon, we don't have to. It's an overcomplication because we all know we're in the Alpha call sign. Does that make sense?
Wouldn't the Alpha designate company, not platoon?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, company. My mistake. So yeah, if we're in our company, essentially.
So, just to clarify that for you, Connolly, then if there was another platoon instead of 1-1 or 1-2, it would be 2-1 or 2-2.
Yeah.
Right.
Essentially, does the numbers change?
Oh yeah, of course. That makes sense.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm thinking ahead of myself. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to come over the net and I'm going to give a rare check. Hello, Charlie 1, this is 1-0. Rare check, over.
1-1, ready check, over.
1-2, reading check, over.
1-0, rare check, okay, out. Now, I didn't need to say rare check, okay, out then. I should have just went 1-0, okay, out. That's my problem there. Also, remember the Charlie call sign that you have to say at the end.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Yes, because remember you're the Charlie call sign if you're the IC responding. So there's that. Now, what we're going to do... So obviously then we have the bad net. So that's obviously using the words of difficult, unworkable, essentially. So it's like there's a net there, but it's problematic. And obviously that's when you use those pro words.
Okay.
Then we have the defaulting station. This is when a call sign or station does not transmit within 5 seconds, and thus you then default to the next call sign. So if Mikhail hasn't answered after 5 seconds, then 1-2 should carry on. So we're going to practice that now. Then I would reply with 1-2 Charlie. Sorry, I'll go 1-0, 1-2 Charlie. Okay. 1-1 Charlie. Nothing heard. Out. All cool? So we're going to practice that. So, hello, Charlie 1, radio. This is Alpha 10, radio check, over.
One, two, Charlie, radio check, over.
1-0, 1-2, radio check, okay. 1-1 Charlie, nothing heard. Out. And obviously that's how you would do it when somebody hasn't signed onto net normally, or they've maybe got comms equipment issues. Oh, hold on. Bugger off all the warships. Okay, so obviously the normal...
I've been clotting a bit.
Seems to be. Is that your time month?
Yeah.
So what normally's gone on is people just haven't signed onto the net yet. It could also be there's comms issues, so maybe Mikhail did hear me, but his transmission has not got to me. However, the transmission might have been heard by you, Connolly, so then you can tell me that he actually did say something, so it's a problem that there's a link between us two that's going wrong. So obviously that's when all the other nets get to help out. Does that all make sense?
Yeah. I don't think I'll need to use it anytime soon, but it's good to know. It's good for context, mostly when I'm listening on radio.
Yes, it's obviously listening, and also if you ever IC, because maybe Duffy disconnected. Okay, so that is the defaulting station. So now we come on to collective calls. So this is the Charlie. That's what collective call stands for. So a Charlie 1 is when you're calling the Alpha to Delta call signs. Charlie 2 is when you're talking to the Echo to Golf call signs, I believe. That may shift maybe by one letter, I believe. I can't be specific on that. I'll have to check, but it's maybe one letter to the side. But you get the gist. It's essentially you're breaking up the phonetics further by doing Charlie 1, Charlie 2, so you don't have to go to everyone.
Still a bit lost on that.
Okay, so
What do
say
you mean
we.
by the call signs?
Okay,
Like
so if you imagine you have like a big matrix of all the call signs across the entire battalion. So
Okay.
a battalion will have multiple companies in it, won't it?
are we talking like, say, you're talking to the infantry, but you're not talking to like flight or it?
No, this is pure infantry. Nothing to do with flight. Unless flight were on our nets for some reason. So,
I've heard Echo being used on FSG.
yes, that's FSG. But
yeah,
again,
they have a separate call sign.
yeah.
Right.
So obviously if they're on our net, then that would work for them as well. But they're not normally on the net. So if you're talking about battalion level, you've got all the companies that are like Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. If you give Charlie, Charlie 1... Bloody hell.
Fuck me, what have it blown up?
I don't know. If you do... Come over here. If you do Charlie, Charlie 1, you're only talking to the Alpha to Delta companies. If you get Charlie, Charlie 2, you're talking to the Echo to Golf companies. Call signs. So essentially you're talking to... Basically you're breaking down a complex array of call signs to give it a different segment, essentially.
I assume we're not going to need that for a long time.
It works in platoon as well. So basically it'd be...
1-0 Bravo, 1-1 Charlie, message, over.
0 Bravo, go ahead, over.
1-1 Charlie, course complete, over.
0 Bravo, roger that. Stand by, I'll get you a new intake as soon as either Hendricks or Underwood's done. Out to you. 1-3, 1-0 Bravo, message, over.
1-3 Charlie, completed win a day course. Feel free to send them over here, and I'll send my guys to Gibbons. Over.
0 Bravo, roger that. 1-1 Charlie, 1-3 Charlie, sloppy groups over, out.
Okay. So that does work within the platoon as well. So whenever giving Charlie, Charlie 1, it's basically saying 1-1, 1-2, and 1-3 in one little group of words, if you know what I mean. So instead of me going... so I'll come back to this later on. It's a multiple call. So instead of me going, hello, 1-1 Charlie, 1-2 Charlie, 1-3 Charlie, this is 1-0, I simply go, hello, Charlie, Charlie 1, this is 1-0.
Just hi all the cunts. Everyone listen up.
It's basically everyone listen up, essentially, yeah. So that's what a collective call is. Now, there's two types of this. There's a full response, which is basically everybody acknowledges it in the call sign, or there's a limited response where I designate someone to respond.
Yeah, I've heard that Lewis doing that, where he'll say acknowledge out, or he'll say when to acknowledge out.
Yeah. So essentially, for this would be hello Charlie Charlie 1. This is 1-0. HLS red closed, over, and then then all the call signs would reply to that. So let's give that a go. Hello Charlie Charlie 1. This is 1-0. HLS red closed, over.
1-1 roger, out.
When to acknowledges it.
Lovely. Okay. So, obviously, yeah, so obviously Mikhail said Roger, you said acknowledge, that's completely fine. They're both interchangeable kind of words. As long as you've, yeah, basically it's the same thing.
I prefer Roger, it's quicker.
True, yes. However,
You're still transmitting.
Am I?
Yeah.
Are I still doing it now?
No.
Okay.
I just think of when fucking Underwood went to see Rogers, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that.
I'll go back on my recording, I hope, because I get Blake right, because he said something which Underwood said at one time.
Acrologies, I think it was.
Yeah, that was it, acrologies. Okay, so now we have the limited response. This is when I designate someone to reply, because I don't want everyone in the call sign to reply, because it would take freaking forever. So it'd be like this. Hello Charlie Charlie 1, this is 1-0. HLS red closed. 1-1 Charlie, acknowledge. Over.
1-1 roger, out.
Yeah, that's it. And basically, I've called everyone to listen in. Everyone's listening, they've heard it, but I've only told one person to acknowledge the transmission. So it's over very quickly. Lovely jubbly. Any questions about that?
No, I'm just trying to take all this in. It's a lot.
It's a lot of things you pick up naturally.
Yeah, it's just...
Right. I'm going to cover this next one because it's more of a Lewis thing, but I'm just going to inform you. So, an unknown station. So, this is for use when there's somebody talking on our net who we do not know, or who has not identified themselves. So, we then need to authenticate them. So, in this instance, it would be, say, call sign Alpha 14 is calling. So, it would be, hello 10, this is 14 Charlie, send lockstat, over. And then IOS10 would be like, hello unknown station, this is 10, say again, call sign, over. And then they would reply, 14 Charlie, over. And then I'd be like, is this somebody who should be talking on my net? Because it may just be...
We should start doing that for people who wrong net on 100.1, by the way, just saying.
Yeah. So obviously it's basically we're trying to ask who you are and why you're on this net. So it could frankly be just a latecomer or somebody trying to mess with their comms, or again someone's got on the wrong net, or it could be an enemy who's now on the wrong net. So if they've given us this is Foxtrot 20 over, and we're like, all call signs change to emergency frequency Delta, over, and then obviously everyone change the frequency.
Right. Okay.
Right, so that's that. So this is probably the next one you might use more. This is the corrections and repetitions. So this is mainly the say again.
I have a quick question before we move on, actually.
Yeah, go for it.
This is more something I heard in the 4th, but I'm assuming when they're talking about, like, I don't know if you heard it when you were there, fluid nets?
Yeah, I looked at that on their document. I have no idea what the fuck that is.
Assume it's what they call an emergency call sign, but I don't know if there's actually like clarification on that.
So far, my documentation that I'm reading through this is nothing about it. So I've not come across it at the moment. There's going to be backup nets, I bet, but as in terms of a fluid net, no idea. If I come across it though, I'm pretty sure we can ask Lewis, but at the moment I've not heard or seen anyone when I had VP lessons come across it. Cool. So, the say again is used when I have not heard or I do not recall part of a transmission. So, obviously we know the transmission's gone through, it was clear, but essentially I may have not clocked onto it, or I may have been dealing with the section and I didn't hear part of the transmission. So I need the transmission to be resent so I can properly hear it all. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I assume we don't use repeat because that could also mean repeat last order.
It's the say again. We don't use repeat.
That's what I was wondering. Is it?
Sorry,
that
did
why
I
we
miss
avoid
that?
repeat?
Can you repeat that?
Fuck off.
Right, get yourselves over at Duffy. You guys can do CMT stuff. Because he's just been kind of sat there for a bit. Don't fucking grow and get over there.
But yeah, bitch.
Spencer.
Move.
There.
Follow on. It's not CMT area.
Right. So within this, we have 5 different say.
Oh, 12 Delta, 10 Bravo, message over.
12 Delta, send your message over.
0 Bravo, 12 Delta, can I get a rough ETA on how long you've got left on the course? I've got another intake waiting for you, over.
12 Delta, feel free to send them in, as I've only been able to just start this one, over.
0 Bravo, roger that. You may as well just hang fire on start and then just go from the beginning. I've sent them over to you, so just wait at the entrance to the CMT area and let them know when to come. Over.
12 Delta, roger that, out.
Okay, carrying on. So there's...
He's a good boy.
Yes, he's a good boy. I made them that way. Right, so we have 5 different say agains. We have say again, word after. So this is basically if you've missed one word. You have say again, word before. Again, word before something. And then you have say again, all after. So this is basically I've heard the first chunk of the transmission, but I've not heard anything after that. Then you have say again, all before. So again, it's the I've heard the last part of the transmission, but you've not heard the start. And then you have say again, from, to. So essentially I need part of the transmission, so I may have missed a very tiny little bit in the middle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And obviously if you've missed the whole thing, I say again. You serious, or are you just taking a piss?
Yeah, seriously, because I fucking was dealing with...
Oh, right, okay. Okay, so say again is for the transmissions. So we have the say again word after. So it's basically, if you say word after grid, so that doesn't work, sorry. Say again word after lockstat, for example. So that's basically, I need that one word. Opposite is word before. So you just need the word before. Then you have say again all after. So it's basically I've heard the first part of the transmission, but I've not heard the latter part of the transmission. You then say again all before. So you've heard the final part, but you've not heard the beginning. And then you have say again from to, which is basically you need a little clip out of the transmission. So you only need like a little snippet, if that makes sense.
Okay, so if I was to say again from to, so for example, 10, say again, from 11 to HLS.
Yes.
Over.
Then obviously he repeat all that's in between.
Yep.
Yeah. But generally speaking, if you've basically not heard the entire transmission, is, say it again. Over.
So it's not say again all hello or all after hello.
No, because the email that's pointless. You just say again. Over.
Okay.
Those extra bits are just to break a part of the transmission down, so it's easier. So you'd have to say the whole thing. Okay. We then have emphasis. This is either you overemphasizing a word or doubly saying something. So the main culprit of this is grid coordinates. Now for ArmA 3, the T-fire is quite nice, but in real life sometimes the transmissions can be a bit gargled. So the main thing is for lock stats. So lock stat at grid 2, 3, 6, 1, 8, 1. I say again, grid 2, 3, 6, 1, 8, 1. Remember the I say again. That is the key phrase. I say again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Gibbons does that. Well, I don't know if he says I say again, but he always repeats.
And then we have cancellations. Now, there's two parts of this. This is official orders, and then when you've made a mistake. So, a cancel is when you are giving a legitimate order, but you just do not want it to be carried out. So, that is again broken into two phases. You have an immediate and you have a delayed. The immediate is if I am saying, hello 1-1 Charlie, this is 1-0, move to grid blah 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 blah, and take over SBF from 1-2, cancel out. So I'm basically saying ignore that entire thing because I don't want you to do it anymore.
Using sort of quick reaction stuff.
Yeah, so it may be because I'm looking at my C tab and I'm realising, actually wait a minute, 1-3 is closer, so I might as well not send 1-1. It's essentially, whilst you're in the transmission, you cancel it. Then you have a delayed. This is basically if you've already given the transmission and they're basically already moving off, as it were. So Billy, but like this. Hello 1-1 Charlie, this is 1-0, cancel my last, out. Now obviously that means cancel my last on 1-1, not for 1-3 or 1-2. It's very specific, whoever the call sign is. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spittle.
Yeah.
I was writing some stuff down still, but what was the other one? So not the delayed, but the immediate?
The immediate is basically cancel out. So you would say, hello 1-1 Charlie, this is 1-0, move to lockstat, grid blah 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 blah, and take over SBF from 1-2, cancel out. So essentially what I've sort of said previously in my order, ignore it.
Roger.
Yep. And then we have basically when I've made a mistake, which is the wrong, out. So, yeah, so it's basically, for the same example, hello 1-1 Charlie, this is 1-0, move to lockstat, grid 0, wrong, out.
But then you start again, or what?
Yeah, then you'd start again. You basically restart the transmission, but obviously correcting yourself. Now, obviously, if it's a little tiny thing, you can probably get away with it. Yeah.
What?
You guys are watching something up there.
No, I just hit my mouse when I was picking my phone up.
So, obviously, if you've made a very tiny little mistake, you can probably just go straight through and just brute force it on. But obviously, if you've made like a blah, 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 and really fucked it up, then you obviously say wrong, out, and you restart. Oh yeah, exactly.
I should not forget that.
Yeah.
Wrong out. That'll help me.
And that is it. There's two more things, which is relays and delegating and assuming nets, but I've not yet completed that because I didn't get that far in the document. So the only thing I need to recap, because I left it from earlier, is single calls and multiple calls. So we do this on it, maybe not the multiple calls, but the single calls. So a single call is when I am calling someone directly. So it'll be, hello 1-1 Charlie, this is 1-0, message over. And that's basically I'm calling him specifically. I want him only to answer. And then we have multiple calls, when we're talking to multiple call signs at the same time. So it's a extended Charlie Charlie 1, as it were. So it would be, hello 1-1 Charlie, 1-2 Charlie, and 1-3 Charlie. This is 1-0. Send lockstat over. So we'll practice that. So what it is, that phrase, lockstat over. And then 1-1 Charlie will go lockstat
location
at...
statement, basically just a grid reference.
So it's lockstat at grid, and then whatever grid, out. Make sense?
Yeah.
We're going to practice that. So Hendrix, you're now 1-3.
What?
Way.
So silent net 3, 3, 3, decimal 3. So basically 4 threes.
Pressing really bad problem where I could be listening to Platoon Net and someone can say something and I hear all of it and then it's immediately gone. I don't know if it's because of my brain fog that I've got a issue with brain fog, and I don't know if it's that or if that's just something that you have to kind of overcome.
You'll get used to
As soon
registering
as it
it.
goes into your head, it's out the other side, you mean?
Yeah, genuinely. God.
Yeah, I still do that, even when I'm fucking...
I know that it's a pretty major symptom of my narcolepsy, but I feel like in this unit it's so much worse than it is.
Hendrix?
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Yeah, no, it's just normally with me,
Can you
it's
hear me?
just because people's
No.
voices grate on me, so I tend to
Remember,
tune them out.
4 threes.
What's with 4 3s then?
So 3 decimal threes the net.
Oh, wait, yeah. Give me a second.
Come on, Hendrix, I got...
Hendrik, radio check 333.3.
Yep, that's good. Okay. So what we're going to do here is a multiple call. So, hello, 1-1 Charlie, 1-2 Charlie, and 1-3 Charlie. This is 1-0 Lockstat. Over.
1-1 Charlie, Lockstat at grid 236, break 181, out.
The Charlie, Lockstat at 236 181 out.
Wait, give me a second. 1-3 Charlie, Lockstat at 236 181, out.
Cool. Very important thing you say grid before that. Because if I just hear that number, I'm going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You give me a telephone number? What are you doing?
Pin code, mate.
Yeah. So
Can
make
you
sure...
do Lockstat at in other ways then?
No, it's just that you make sure you say grid, because remember, part of the transmission might be lost. Like, I may not hear Lockstat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you always say grid, just because it's procedure of grid this. Technically speaking, we should be saying grid figure, and then 236, but I'm like, fuck that. Right, that's cool. Does that make sense? Lovely. That is the big chunky part of the lesson done of the command net, and I have done 2 minutes earlier. But mainly 2 minutes added because of Hendrix not being on net.
Whee!
Right, thank you for coming. 10 Bravo, I'm ready for new intake, over.
Oh, we haven't got a new intake yet. We haven't got one for you either, Hendrix, unfortunately.
It's going to take more than an hour, so that...
I mean, Hendrix can probably stay in for the first part of that lesson because there's a bit of the command.
You haven't. In fact, you know what? Hendrix is your new intake.
Yep.
We're not going to get another class done for DMR tonight. I don't think it's too long.
Should I wait for a new set of... Actually, shall I ask on the net if there's any available recruits?
Stand by, I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do a multiple call.
Oh.
Hello, 1-1 Charlie, 1-3 Charlie, and 1-2 Delta, 10 Bravo, message, over.
1-1 Charlie, send it, over.
Can I get an ETA on you finishing your current intake, over?
1-1 Charlie, 30 Sierras, out.
That's close.
1-3 Charlie, I've only just started, so I'm about 5-10 minutes into this. Over.
0 Bravo, Rog, out to you. 1-2 Delta, same detail, over.
Like
1-2 Delta. Looking at the time, I should be done in about 15 to 20 minutes. Over.
0 Bravo, Roger that. 1-1 Charlie, once you're done with your intake, send them over hospital, out.
Like you asked them, how long will it take? And Underwood answers, yeah, I'm just 5 minutes in. That's not the question you asked.
Well, we fucking took ages in the last one. Conley, I've got nothing for you, unfortunately.
That's okay.
You can fill out the next call sign for Hendrix, so we have actually all 3 call signs like a platoon. Okay.
You may as well hang fire for the next I'll go see who's in the next intake, because it might be the same group.
Okay.
Did I miss a lot, Bill?
Yeah. But yeah.
Okay. And I would say if I did miss a lot, otherwise I could still do Conley's DMR test. Like, not the navigation one, but the DMR.
What?
If you want. Never mind. You've done it.
I did that I've done that ages ago. I've got my DMR.
I did the test, but I only did the navigation part to know that the DMR as well
Did
last
the
time.
range and all that, yeah. Did it.
Oh, nice.
Literally the only qual I need is
Yeah, I got the Quals for it, but I can't give the. I got the document, but I can't give the ribbons though.
I don't care about Grenadier though. Like I know how to do it. Right, there we go. Pew,
I don't
done.
have the Grenadier Quals, but I have a Grenadier slot anyway, as an IC.
Yeah, exactly. I know that.
Was I meant to bring you?
What the
Was
fuck?
I meant to bring you my guys after I finished?
Yes.
Okay, sweet.
Who are you guys, by the way?
Hendricks and Murphy.
Yes, then they are. Oh, he's here.
Chumley and Murphy, but I had to say it really fucking quick.
Yeah,
'cause I was
lovely.
going into Zeus.
Does that mean I can set aside?
No, you can be 1-4.
Just want to go get ice cream.
Well, you go get ice cream now and come back. Except go kneel next to the wall. Actually, no, they're here now.
What are you teleporting, you guys?
We got to witness the platoon sergeant in his mobility scooter.
Yeah, I got it right there. That's fun.
Right, Chumley, soft hat on, please.
I can see that.
I do not have one.
Right.
Okay.
Chaos though.
Lovely. Let's wait for Mr. Mobility Scooter. School circle on me. Take a knee.
I wish I had a soft hat, but my fucking loadout is screwy.
Where's that Hendricks has run off? Where's he gone?
I'm here. That was Gibbons.
Oh, that was Gibbons. Okay, he needs to hear this too.
That looks nice.
Right, I mean, at this point, by the time the other guys have finished their courses, it's going to probably be ended.
Well, they can freaking read it after I finish writing it up properly. Okay, Gibbons, you probably want to
You may as well just keep this as your full intake.
Yeah, exactly.
You included.
Yeah, Gibbons, you want to join him?
I mean,
There's things here you don't know. You're going to have to take part.
You don't have to, because you just sat through it.
I mean, I'd like you to be a frequency, if you don't mind.
Oh.
Suck it up.
Go.
There's nothing else for you to do.
Free to Connolly.
I can go get my ice
Okay.
cream.
You can go and get your ice cream. I'm going to cover the initial part. So go get your ice cream.
Right,
I'm
you've
gonna
got,
tell,
you've got 4
taking
call
your
signs here, you don't need it. Right, if you've got nothing to do, you can index early. Because once the other guys have finished up their courses, they're going to be indexed as well. If you just want to index, go do whatever you're doing and just wait in your section shuttle for your debrief.
Okay. Gibbons, just want to come in front of me so I can see it. Thank you. And just take a knee. Women, eh?
It's 2020, mate.
Yeah, I know. Right. Welcome to Chumley. That weapon better be on safety.
My trigger finger is
And
my
Murphy.
safety, but yes. On safety.
But please don't have the wind blowing in here. Okay, so welcome to the infantry voice procedure, or otherwise known as VP. So this lesson will be divided into 3 sections, 3 phases. So we'll have basic radio setup, we'll have section radio, and then we'll have command radio. Now, I'm obviously going to go very quickly through the basic radio setup, because you are all senior people here, and I'm not going to teach you how to suck eggs. So I essentially want anyone to speak up if they do not know how to do this. Setting up nets, setting additional channels, changing the volume, and obviously putting ears to speakers or speakers to headphones. Cool.
Question.
Yep.
Can you have different channels in different ears?
Yes. Do you not do
I
that?
do not know how to do that.
Right. Control P.
Fuck is that?
That's Underwood. So you control P, do you see your net?
Yep. I got stereo settings and all that
Yes.
other
So
stuff.
click on stereo settings, you should see right ear, left and right.
Yep.
That's the ear.
Alright.
And that's how you set it between ear. And obviously, if you go to your additional channels, you can then do the same. So you can have one on your left and one on your right at all times. Cool. I'm not going to go through that because you'll know that as your signaler. You people know about it. Right. Okay. Key phrases. Again, I'm going to rattle through this because you should have all used it once in a while. So you've got the hello used at the start of the transmission. You've got the over, ending a transmission design response. You've got the out, ending a conversation with no reply. You've got the roger and acknowledge, where you received last transmission satisfactory. You've got negative. You have then Charlie 1 and Charlie 2, which is a collective call to multiple call signs. You have wait 1, when an immediate answer is not available. A callback will be given in approximately 1 minute. You have wait out, which is an immediate answer unavailable. We'll call back when you can. You have a break, when you're going to break up transmission in between, to break up a bit of information. You have out to you. So if I'm talking to Chumley, I've said my piece to him. I then go out to you, and I start talking to Gibbons. You have the emergency break. So that is if you call on the net, all call signs go quiet, so you can give your vital information. And you have contact wait out, which is obviously then a section giving a contact report to 1-0. Any questions on that?
That was fast.
Oh, yes, I know, but you use this stuff.
Yeah, but I might have missed a part of it because I thought you were still talking to Chumley.
Well,
I think I know everything.
Yeah. It's going to be on the website anyway, so you should be fine.
Okay, don't worry about it.
Right, you should generally know your phonetic alphabet. Right, so now the golden rules of VP. So, Hendrix, there's 3 of them. What might be one of the rules of VP?
What does VP stand for?
Voice procedure.
Be loud and clear.
There's an Yep, clap. Gibbons, what might another one be?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question. I was looking at the server.
We're going over clap.
No. So, we've got 3 golden rules of voice procedure. One of them is clap. What could another one be?
Who are you talking to?
Nope. Try again. So this is more of the discipline.
Oh, short and simple.
Yes, so keeping your transmissions brief as possible. One, it is to essentially keep yourself well disciplined, you don't garble on. And also in the 60s and 70s, you kept it to a 20-second because in 20 seconds you could be triangulated. It doesn't really work now, but it's still good discipline. And Chumley, what could be the other one?
Let's see, I've already got those first 2.
What must you do to prevent ums and ahs?
Oh, I know it.
Already know what you're going to say on the radio.
Yes, so thinking before you speak, so that way we remove all the ums and ahs.
That needs to be in the PTC document. I'll write it down for myself.
Okay, that's covered. That is the basic radio. Went for that very quickly because that's covering myself from recruits. Right, so section radio. So obviously this is quite an informal net. So who's next to you, Chumley? It's Murphy. So fuck it, doesn't work between you lot because you're too senior. But essentially, yeah. So essentially we know that the section nets are 111, 112, 113, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. And obviously if you needed to call another net because you're in a misdrop or you need to organise yourself somehow, that's what you do. You get onto their net, correct?
Yep.
Lovely. So, actually I need Gibbons for this, but I'll skip that until he gets back. So, Murphy, what is...
Charlie 110 Bravo. Once you've finished your last training intake, feel free to index out.
Hello, 10 Bravo. This is 12 Charlie. That was wrong net, over.
That was a 3-3-3.
Yep, it was.
Charlie 110 Bravo. Once you finish your final training intake, feel free to index out.
So, what is the difference between a sighting and a contact call? Murphy.
Can anybody hear him?
No.
Or is he not speaking?
Oh, turns out my fucking mic was
Yep.
So enemy, so contact is enemy, confirmed enemy, combatant.
Nope.
Satan is where you have civilian.
I was saying, Murphy. Gibbons? When I've done this thing with Murphy, this next bit I need you there as well. Say again?
I need to head off, but... So,
okay,
yeah,
I'll just tell you very briefly then.
Yeah, okay.
So you know Kazan reports?
Yeah.
So you know how I normally just do the first 2 and then you do the whole green, green, green?
Yeah.
So what we're doing now, essentially both kind of the same. So obviously the first part is identical, but for the final part, the speciality is specified. So it's green, green, CMT, amber, or AT, amber. Just make sure it's specified.
Specifying which ones.
Yeah, because say for example, Blakeway, he's usually a CMT, and if he says green, green, black, and you presume he's a CMT just because you just think he is, you're like, oh shit. So if he specifies AT, black, it's a bit more clear. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Let me just double check there's nothing else. There's a lot of command net stuff, which is not good for you, but I'll hopefully get the SOP up.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
Cool.
He'll be joining flight anyway.
Oh yeah, he doesn't
This
need a
guy.
yeah, this guy.
Let him do what he needs to do.
Let him fly. Okay, so Murphy, that is incorrect. An enemy can be involved in a sighting and a contact report. There's a difference. It is the threat that they give.
Bad man, like someone we're actually engaging.
Again,
It's probably wrong.
yes and no. So the key word is threat. So it could be a enemy section at 50 meters. That is definitely a threat. So it's a contact call. If it's the same enemy force at 1,000 meters, they haven't seen us. It's not a threat. So it becomes a sighting. So it's all about the threat. So it could be as well a civilian. Could be encroaching on our position. It would be a sighting. However, when he gets closer, he might become a threat. So I could then call that IED front, and then obviously that's a short contact call because it's IEDs. So you get what I mean? It's all about that perceived threat. So again, another example would be a tank. If I'm 10 meters away from a tank, it's definitely a threat. If the tank is 2 kilometers away, it's less likely to be a threat. You get what I'm going for here.
Yep.
So that's the difference between a sighting and a contact call. Murphy, give me the 3Ds.
The description, distance, direction.
Yes. So that is the basis. That is the information you must give. However, it is not limited to that. So you must give that, and then you could tack on a little bit of information on the side just to help you guys get onto target. So, for example, it could be contact 2-man team bearing 255, 300 meters, left bottom window. That kind of thing. So adding a little bit of information onto the end might help. I've scored. Obviously, I don't need to mention that contact call. It has to be a PID target. Okay, and going back to the bit I mentioned with Gibbons, if you overheard, so Kazam, that is now going to change to the casualty, is obviously the same, ammo, and then for the speciality, it is going to be given as CMT, green, or AT, green, Grenadier, green. Yes, but you have to specifically state the speciality, not just go green, green, green. You must state your role speciality.
Does that apply to ARs?
No, they don't. I know Gibbons, he just goes green, green, green.
Yeah, we don't do that, mate. We that might be a good idea. Did Blakeway do this course as well? And Matthews?
Yes, they did it first with me.
Ah, great. Then
Yes. So, yeah, Hendrix, also if you could put that into one of the RTT documents, because I've gone through this with Lewis and this is what we want to do. So, obviously 1-2 does the whole just green, green, whereas 1-1 does the whole green, green, green. So we're basically amalgamating the two and making sure that the speciality is specified. So that is a green, 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 CMT, amber. So it's a bit clearer. Make sense?
Yeah, I'll write it down.
Thank you.
Speciality. I don't know if I can edit it though, but I'll ask McCarthy to do it.
Yes, also with his bloody 50 meter fully auto. Okay, moving on then. Any questions about section net? Okay, now we're moving on to the bread and butter of this lesson. This is a command radio. So we start off with a command radio check. So this is obviously to confirm that all stations are working on the making sure all the stations are working on the same net before a given operation or exercise. This is obviously done in the preparation phase of your pre-SAR. So this is what we're doing now, essentially, in base. So, key phrases to note is obviously radio check, that's to initiate the procedure. You have OK, which is you heard the transmission fine. Difficult, which is basically you can understand what the person is saying, but it might be gargled or might be a little low quality or low volume. You have unworkable, so you can hear a transmission is being sent, but nothing's coming over, you can't understand a word. So a good example of that is Lewis, when he doesn't transmit.
Fiddle.
Yes?
Can I be annoying? And sorry, I missed that part. My girlfriend asked me something. Can you
Yeah, I'll repeat. I'll go back through it.
Roger.
You then have unworkable, which is basically you can hear a transmission is there, but you cannot ascertain a word is being said. So a good example is Lewis. So you hear his crackle of his net, but nothing is said. So you say unworkable. And then you have nothing heard. That is when you hear a signal, that's when you don't hear a crackle, you don't hear nothing. So no transmission has been given. So I'll just repeat that. So you have radio check, which initiates the procedure. You have the OK, so you hear everything OK. You have difficult, so you can still understand what the person is saying, but it could be low quality, low volume, or it could be staticky. And then, did you understand the unworkable part? Hendrix. Cool. Okay, so that is the responses. So now we actually go into a bit of practice. So everyone get onto frequency 333.3. So 333.3. So it should be 4 threes.
Head on channel 1.
I put it on channel 3.
He's just looking at me with this sarcastic.
Don't transmit on command net.
That wasn't command net.
No, but we're simulating this is command net.
Oh.
Because this is the command part of the lesson. So that's one thing you should never do, is go on there and be like, hello, I'm here. That is purely your section net. So with command radio checks, it is the command element which initiates it, so it'll be Lewis. Alright, so what will be said is, hello Charlie Charlie 1, this is 1-0, radio check, over. And then it will go 1-1 Charlie, okay, over. And then it'll go down, and I'll go 1-0, okay, out.
Is that not like normally I hear people say radio check okay?
Yes, it's not needed. But obviously no one's going to really punish you if you say it, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's the same if people... So, obviously you sometimes hear me or other people say, radio check on frequency 100.1, over. We shouldn't be saying that, one, because the enemy could be listening closely, like they could be doing a record patrol on our position, they hear our net, and then all of a sudden they're on our net now and can listen to our stuff. And also, you should be already in the clue, you should already know the radio net. Right, so I will now initiate. Hello Charlie Charlie 1, this is 1-0, radio check, over.
1-1 Charlie, okay, over.
Murphy 1-2, and then obviously Chumley 1-3.
Got it.
1-2 Charlie, okay, over.
1-2 Charlie, okay, over.
1-0, okay, out. Thanks for adapting there, Chumley. Lovely, so that is obviously a full radio check. Again, it's initiated by the command element, and then you simply respond. So obviously when you have a bad net, you use the pro words that we mentioned earlier, such as unworkable and difficult. So it's the same kind of procedure. Okay, now we have defaulting station. This is when a call sign fails to transmit within 5 seconds, and the call sign next must continue as required. So, for example, if Hendrix is not on the net, or he doesn't hear it at all, he would be silent, and then 5 seconds later, Chumley and Murphy could just swap around so I can see you in order. Thank you. You then have Chumley, he would then take the net, because obviously he's next in line. Obviously it goes in all that order. So give that a try. So Hendrix, remain quiet. Hello Charlie Charlie 1, this is 1-0, radio check, over.
Uh, 1-2 Charlie, okay, over.
1-2 Charlie, okay, over.
For fuck's sake, Murphy, you switches to calls like you 1-3. Okay. 1-0, 1-2, and 1-3. Okay. 1-1 Charlie, nothing heard. Out. Okay, so that's what would happen. I would say you two were fine, and nothing heard from him. Now, obviously, he may have transmitted, and you could have heard him. At that point, you would relay to me that he did transmit, and so that would mean that there's a problem between our two links. Make sense?
Yep. You know how hard it is for me to not speak?
Yeah, I know. It's like a good instinct, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so that there is the radio checks. Okay, so I'll go back up again because I think this would be that order. So now we have what is called single calls and multiple calls. So a single call is when I as 1-0 would talk to a specific call sign. So an example would be, hello 1-2 Charlie, this is a 1-0, sit rep, over. So I'm talking to one call sign specifically. So this is normally the bread and butter of what we do. However, I may want to talk to multiple call signs. So I'd be like this. Hello, 1-1 Charlie, 1-2 Charlie, and 1-3 Charlie. This is a 1-0, lockstat, over. Okay, and if for information, those who don't know what lockstat is location status. So you would then reply with 1-1 Charlie, lockstat at grid 058035, out. And then it'll go down. I don't need a reply to that because you just give me a statement. Make sense?
Ah, so that's what that is.
Yes.
I'm so used to Americans calling it POS rep, position report. That's my bad. Sorry, I'll try to adapt to that. Lockstat. Okay, got it.
Cool. Okay, so for this instance, obviously you've got your GPS up. Just read the number off that. It's fine. Okay. Hello 1-1 Charlie, 1-2 Charlie, and 1-3 Charlie. This is 1-0 Lockstat. Over.
1-1 Charlie, Lockstat at grid 236-181. Out.
1-2 Charlie, Lockstat at 236-181. Out.
1-3 Charlie, Lockstat at 236-181. Out.
Cool. However, you two need to remember to say grid. You say Lockstat at grid, and then followed by the number. Now remember, it's because, for instance, in terms of real life transmissions, the Lockstat might have been lost, like it might not have been heard, I might not have been able to understand what you said. And then you say grid, so I know exactly what that number means. If you just went, bloody hell.
Fuck.
If you just went 0, 3, 5, and then I'm like, what the fuck is that number? So you see how that makes sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so that's multiple calls done. Right, what we move on to now is collective call. So if you've ever heard Charlie Charlie 1, that is what is the acronym for a collective call. So a collective call is essentially when you want to talk to multiple call signs at once. So instead of me going 1-1 Charlie, 1-2 Charlie, and 1-3 Charlie, I can simply say Charlie Charlie 1. Now, obviously in the platoon, the Charlie Charlie 1 applies to all the sections. As you go higher levels, so the way Charlie Charlies work, the Charlie Charlie 1 goes from the Alpha to the Delta call sign, and then Charlie Charlie 2 goes from the Echo to the Golf call sign. Now, that may adjust by maybe one letter either way, because maybe I'm not remembering that correctly, but you get the gist. You get the gist?
Kinda, but when will we
Not
use
familiar with
Charlie
Echo
Charlie
and Golf
2 then?
call signs, but alright.
No, so again, this Charlie Charlie with the call signs, it's when you're talking about, say, signalers in between different companies, for example.
Ah, fair.
But obviously it works within the platoon because you still have different sections. So essentially just imagine it as a bigger picture.
Okay.
So obviously the Charlie Charlie 1 would be the Alpha to the Delta call signs. So it's essentially like, say you've got a massive call sign matrix with loads and loads of call signs, but you just want to talk to the first couple, for example. Make sense?
Alright. Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
Well, I guess in whoever Widow 2-3 is, they would probably say Charlie Charlie 2 on Signals Net. Fair enough.
Might do, yeah. If obviously we have FSG and then maybe Mert, they could be Foxtrot and then like Echo. You know, that would work then for them.
Yeah, okay, fair.
That was if, however, they were on the same net as the platoon net, which is not. So it's obviously if you're on all the same nets.
Yeah.
Okay, so within the collective call, you have a full response and you have a limited response. So you can kind of get the gist of that. So the full response is when I want every single call sign that I've just called up to reply. So it'll be this. Hello, Charlie Charlie 1, this is 1-0. HLS red closed. And there'll be 1 Charlie, Roger, out. 1-2 Charlie, Roger, out. 1-3 Charlie, Roger, out. You can see how that might take a long time if you've got a lot of call signs, right?
Yep.
So this is why we have a limited response. So limited response is, hello Charlie Charlie 1, this is 1-0. HLS red closed. 1-1 Charlie acknowledged, over. And there will be 1-1 Charlie, Roger, out. So essentially you're taking it on goodwill that 1-1 is representing the entire platoon and saying that they've all heard it.
Right.
So it's kind of a, whilst you're not acknowledging that everyone has heard the thing, you are basically assuming that everyone's listening in properly. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Because obviously you want to keep that transmission time short. Okay, I'll again just mention this one. This is mainly a Lewis one. So if we have an unknown call sign, so that could be either a lost call sign, or it could be somebody joining on later on, or it could be an enemy calling in on our net. We don't know. We need to authenticate them. So this is why it might go. So say we had 1-4. Hello 1-0, this is 1-4 Charlie, send Lockstat, over. And then I as 1-0 go, hello unknown station, this is 1-0, say again, call sign, over. 1-4 Charlie, over. And then obviously at that point 1-0 becoming like, who is this person? Is this just my section IC who's been a dingbat and not called on the net for ages? Or is this an enemy? Make sense?
Yep.
So essentially you need to confirm that call sign, because obviously it's pretty obvious if someone just goes, this is Foxtrot 2-0, and we don't have a Foxtrot 2-0, it kind of rings alarm bells, doesn't it?
Hi, Dad.
Yes. Right. So that is unknown stations. So this is the final two parts now. So now we have corrections and repetitions. So this is to be used, so the phrase say again. So this is used when part or all of transmission has not been heard or understood. So it's been transmitted, so you know it's been transmitted, but you've just not caught it, or you've not understood it. So if you've not heard the whole thing, you say again, over. However, if you wanted something more specific, you have these breakdowns, 5 breakdowns. So you have say again, word after. So that could be say again, word after lockstat, which might be grid. So it's basically so you want a specific word that you missed. Again, so say again, word before, same way but it's opposite. Then you have then say again, all after. So that basically means you've heard the first part of the transmission, but you've not heard the latter part of the transmission. Again, the reverse, you have say again, all before, is when you heard the latter part of the transmission, but you've not heard the first part. And then you have the snippet one, which is say again from to. So that could be say again from 1-1 Charlie to lockstat. Over. So essentially you want that snip of the transmission. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Right, now we have emphasis. This is basically when you want to put across a point and basically say you really need to hear this. It's really important, it's crucial. So a example of this would be grid. Now in ArmA 3 it doesn't really apply because our comms are quite reliable, whereas in real life they might come across jarry or chattery or interfered. So an example of this would be lockstat at grid 23618 I say again grid 23618 Makes sense? And you must say that I say again. And that's the keyword, I say again. Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't say repeat on
No.
that's bad juju.
No, it's I. When you're repeating yourself to confirm something, it's I say again. If you want someone else to repeat themselves, is just the say again, like we talked about previously. Make sense?
Yeah, I know.
Cool.
I was just clarifying that one does not say repeat.
No, don't. Okay, and here's the final one. This is cancellations. Now, there's 2 categories here. We have the cancel and we have the wrong. The cancel is to be used when you're giving a legitimate order, which you do not want to be carried out, and you have the wrong, which is when you make a mistake. So within the cancels, you have 2 parts. You have immediate, so that is when you are giving your transmission and you want to halt the order and stop it. So it could be this. Hello 1-1 Charlie, this is 1-0. Move to lockstat at grid blah 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 and take over SBF from 1-2. Cancel out. So it's basically I've given the legitimate order I want them to do, but in between my transmission I just go something's interfered with my plan, or I just don't want to do that anymore. I just go cancel out. The other part of that is delayed. That's basically I've already given that order, but I do not want it to be carried out. So example of that would be hello 1-1 Charlie, this is 1-0. Cancel my last out. Make sense?
Yep.
So obviously it's very specific. It's 1-1 cancel my last. So the last order I sent to 1-1, not the last order I sent to 1-3. Make sense?
Yep.
Lovely. And then we have the final one, which is wrong. So this is when you are giving a transmission and you've made a mistake. So it would be like this. Hello 1-1 Charlie, this is 1-0. Move to location grid 2-3 wrong out. And then you would restart. You essentially restart the whole transmission because you made a mistake. Is that clear? That makes sense? So if you make a mistake, you just go wrong out and then restart it again. Right. Is there any questions from the command element? That command net we just covered?
No.
No.
Lovely. Right. Thank you, gentlemen. Anything points?
Let's see. Is correction not used as well as wrong?
No.
Okay.
So if you
maybe
done,
maybe that's another Americanism I'll have to break then.
I did read something in the mail, but I'm going to check with Lewis because also what he said to me previously. Because it possibly is you say wrong out at the very first bit of the sentence to basically then correct yourself. If you've done it at the very end, it might just be wrong and then you repeat your last little bit. But I just need to confirm that. But it's better to say wrong out and restart. Because normally you've mucked up halfway in the middle.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, cool. I hope there should be an SOP on the site, so you are free to disconnect.
Right. Go down to your section channels, wait there, spittle. Once you get down there, just go through with your guys making up what balls they managed to do, what wins the path, and then
Roger.